Welcome, Dr. Lisa Folden, to the podcast. We're so excited to have you. And without further ado, I just want you to jump right in and just give us a little bit about what you do and why. Why you do
Sure.
what you do in the way that you do.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. First and foremost, I appreciate any opportunity to talk about this stuff because it's a big passion of mine.
Mm.
But essentially, what I do, I'm a licensed physical therapist. I am licensed in North Carolina, and I practice in Charlotte. And what I did initially is, just anything, any injury, orthopedic injury issue. I treated patients from the ages of birth all the way until elderly people in their hundreds, literally. So I considered myself a generalist for many years. And then maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I started having my own little, no, it's probably like 8 years ago, I started having my own little crisis and coming to know of my engagement with diet culture. I didn't realize I had been so entangled with diet culture because for me, it was called health and wellness. I grew up with a dad who was a fitness competitor, and I was a dancer and a runner, and I just saw weight as the absence of health and thinness as health.
Mm.
And so that was my training in physical therapy school. That was my mindset. And then it came to a head when I could not get my body to obey me any longer. When I started to gain weight for no reason that I could, conceptualize. And then I stumbled upon the book Health at Every Size by Dr. Bacon, and I could not put it down. And then I read all of their books, and then I read Body of Truth by Harriet Brown, and then I read Fearing the Black Body by Sabrina Strings, and it just kept going and going and going and going. And so I I always tell people I have a doctorate in physical therapy, but I felt like I got another doctorate in anti-diet and diet culture and all that because there was so much to learn. And once, the veil was lifted, if you will, I could not unsee it. And so I
Mm.
had to transition my entire life and my practice. So, I stopped engaging in diets. I started working on my body image. I started eating intuitively. I read those books and started the certification for that. And then I transitioned my practice. And as a result, my practice niched down to basically primarily work with people in eating disorder recovery and in larger
Mm.
bodies. And so now my space is about providing a safe place for people to reacclimate to movement and or recover from injury, regardless of what their bodies look like, regardless of their history or presence, with eating disorders. And so I literally love it. Like I look forward to it every single day. I also coach clients who are trying to find movement, actualize health, whatever that looks like, or means
Yeah.
to them, and improve their body image. So I do that work virtually and in person as well. And it's like all I do now. So I love it. I'm a person who's easily bored. And so that's why I was a generalist all those years and seeing and treating everybody. But finding this population has been so rewarding. And I still get to see so many different diagnoses and, so many complex individuals. So I don't find myself bored, which is a big plus. So that's a little bit about what I do and why. But I absolutely love it. I feel very called to this work. So it doesn't
Mm.
always feel like work. So.
That's the
It's
best kind of work, isn't it? When it doesn't feel
Mhm.
like work. It's so interesting, this stumbling across the non-diet approach. I feel like that happens to a lot of people. It certainly happened to
Mhm.
me when I felt like something wasn't quite right. I was in the public health nutrition space,
Mhm.
and I stumbled across something and everything changed. But it really resonated when you said that. I changed the way that I look at things, the way I do things, but then I just had to incorporate that into my work, because
Yeah.
once you see, it's almost, it sounds a bit sort of like, once you see the light you can't go back from it, but it's like that,
Mhm.
isn't it? Because there is just so much value and so much truth in this kind of approach, and so much
Yeah.
compassion, that going back seems impossible, doesn't it?
For sure. 100% feels impossible. And it's just undesirable at this point.
Mm.
I've had moments of weakness within myself, like, oh gosh, maybe I should try another diet, but,
Mhm.
I don't follow through with it. but teaching that to other people, I could never. It feels like what it feels like as a medical professional is doing harm. That's what it
Mm.
feels like. And I'm just not interested in fitting into that model anymore. There's enough harm out there. The stories I hear from my clients and patients, the things I've experienced, I don't want anybody to feel that. So yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think I could ever go back for there's no amount of money or or there's no valid reason for it. So yeah, once you see it, you really can't unsee it.
You
Hmm.
know, I think for me, the first time that I came across the non-diet movement was on Instagram. There's an influencer called Lauren Level.
Hmm.
I'll put her details in the show notes, but she talked about untangling weight loss and movement. Like,
Yeah.
why are we bringing them together? Let's just talk about movement. Bring it back to movement. Bring it back to how you feel in your body when you move. And it was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it
It's like a light bulb goes off.
like,
I know.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was just suddenly like, why are we conflating? Why are we always talking about diet with exercise and body composition? And why can't we actually just talk about building strength, feeling better,
Hmm.
and just, how do you want to feel in your body when you move?
Yeah.
And using it to sort of strengthen our joints and just feel a bit stronger, more confident in our bodies as they are now. And it was just such a, as you say, a light bulb. And you can't go
Yeah.
back. And then once
Nope.
you dive into all the books that you mentioned, I think we've all read several times over. We've done the
Yeah.
intuitive eating training, and there's no way you could not look back now. You've seen you've
Yep.
seen
You've
it
seen it
very,
all.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But for you, you changed your entire practice. Was that
Hmm.
a slow transition, or how did you extricate yourself from it? You may have had clients that you were working with in a
Yeah.
different capacity. So how did you go about kind of changing?
That was hard
Yeah.
because yes, I did. I mean, at the time, I had a program I had created, a weight loss program I created, um, and with no nutrition education whatsoever, because my degree does not cover that at all. I created a meal plan for people to follow to help them lose weight. Because why not? And I thought this was going to be like the way I made it. Like I'm going to be like a huge thing as this like weight loss, trainer, and it's laughable now, but I had to sort of gradually make the shift. What I did is I started, I think, incorporating the weight neutral messaging into my
Mhm.
interactions with my clients. I had several clients that were like definitely trying to lose weight and, you know, very much like coming to me. They might have come for an injury, but they were like, okay, now how do we get rid of this? So I had to start gently educating them as I was educating myself. And there was sort of a two things that happened. One, COVID happened in the process of this because I started sort of coming to my realization between 2018 and 2019. And in 2018, I had released my first book that was all about
Wow.
a busy mom's guide to wellness. And there was a lot of diet language in there. So it was hilarious because then I stopped promoting that. Um, but COVID hit, so things slowed down naturally. And then I was in a space, like in a office building, like in the basement. And I never thought that I was this type of person, but I know that I am now. Not having direct sunlight was starting to really wear me down. I had been in this
Mm.
space for like 3 years. And so my lease was coming to an end and the rent was going up. And I was like, you know what? Things have been rough since COVID. I don't want to be here anymore. And so I just
Brilliant.
like didn't renew my lease, didn't have a plan for where my business is going to go. But as all things that are divine do, it completely worked out. I was on the phone calling local gyms, which was hilarious in and of itself because I would get like this knot in my stomach every time I would like look at their websites or call them on the phone because I'm like, maybe I can just rent a small room in like
Mm.
a gym and just do, I wanted to do hybrid work, virtual some days, in person some days. And I just could not. I was like, oh, my stomach hurts. And so someone said, hey, there's a dietitian practice who I think has a big space or might be looking to connect with other, like providers in the anti diet world. And I'm like, Oh, if I
Mm.
could be in the anti-diet world, that would be so amazing. And so I called two people, so funny. One was Melissa, who runs Deeper Roots therapy, mental health therapy. The other one was Annie, who runs Second Breakfast Nutrition. And they were in the same space and they were expanding to a larger space and they were looking
Wow.
for more people who, were weight neutral. And so I reached out to both of them. They both called me back. We laughed like, oh, basically it's the same business, or space. And it was like a match made in heaven. They were like, come in, we
Oh,
want to meet you. We talked one time and they were like, okay, you're in the space. And I was like, really? I hadn't seen it. I didn't know. It just didn't matter. It was like farther from my house. It didn't matter. So making that transition and then sort of having a lower clientele post COVID sort of made it where the transition could be a little smoother. So it was gradual initially, but then I was able to make a huge switch and just like pivot. And then, my messaging on social media was already building up to that anyway. So then I started getting clients from there, getting clients from, the mental health practice, the dietitian practice. So now my people find me and it's way less of like a conversion. I don't have to convert their thought process, which is really helpful. So yeah, it took some time, but it was worth the like couple years of transitioning for sure.
yeah, and I remember that Evelyn Tribole, we had Evelyn on, who was amazing, but she talked about people being at the right stage to work with them. So not
Yeah.
everybody is ready to do
No.
the work. So if you're kind of set up in that anti-diet practice, that's great because you're going to get the clients who are kind of they are ready and they're interested and they're curious and they want to kind of make a
Yes.
change or
Yep.
yeah.
It makes all the difference because you can't, it's already challenging to just, help somebody buy into the idea of recovering from an injury and doing these particular movements and being consistent and paying the money. Like it's already a buy-in there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you also have to convince them that weight loss and dieting and restricting and it's just a lot of education. So
Mm.
I do think
Um,
my ideal client is someone who has recognized like that what they've been doing all this time isn't working.
Mhm.
And maybe they're curious about another diet, but they're also kind of fed up with diets. That's usually my ideal client. They have their foot in the anti-diet door. They're not on another block because it's just too much work. Those people can follow my social media for a
yeah.
while and warm
Mm.
up and then like you know what that makes a bit more sense for them.
We
Yeah.
love your social media. You are on fire. It's amazing. Ella,
Thank
I've got one more
you.
question and then I will let you
Go
jump.
for it.
Um, I'm a personal trainer and Pilates teacher and all of that. I have a lot of people talk to me about joints, the
Mm,
health of their joints, and also worrying about being in a larger body and the impact
mhm.
that would have on their joints,
Right.
given that that is the rhetoric of our National Health Service
It is.
and also, I have several friends. I've got one friend in particular who went to the doctor with an excruciating pain in her lower back,
Mhm.
unable to walk. And yeah, we can't talk to you until you lose weight. Offered her Wegovy or Ozempic, and
Mm.
wouldn't address any issue that she had until she lost weight. And it is just oh, it's like a banging your head against a brick wall. And I
It
just
is.
want to ask you for all of those people out there that are worried about what their weight, the impact of their weight on their joints, can you
Mm.
dispel any myths around that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, and this is something we learned in physical therapy school too, this idea that, increased weight is increased pressure on your joints. And, to some extent, the laws of physics are that, right? If we are jumping or running or
Mhm.
banging, whatever our body weight is, that is, increasing the compressive force through our joints. But the other side of the coin is that is actually how our joints, our bones grow and develop and acclimate. And so being in a large body in and of itself does not damage your joints. Your bones are built for your body. The only time can imagine or have seen where there is some significant joint concern with changing body weights is if you gain a very significant amount of weight in a very short period of time. So maybe you go on a medication and you gain 30 pounds in a couple weeks. Like it's very, very different. But in general, the way that our bodies gain weight gradually, it's no damage to our joints from that because our joints are constantly acclimating to the load we put it under. And it's, if people have trouble conceptualizing that, it's, think about it from the perspective of progressive load with
Yes.
lifting weights. If you add more weight over time, that is not bad for your joints. That is
No.
actually very good for your joints and your joint health, your bone health overall. Our bones literally grow with our bodies and acclimate to the force that it exerts, on them. So that is just a big myth around, this idea that more weight means poor joint health. And that's not to dismiss anyone who, lived in a smaller body and then started living in a larger body and noticed there was more aches or pains or difficulty moving. That can sometimes be a result, but it's
Mm.
not the weight directly. Sometimes it's fluid retention. Sometimes it's, lack of mobility. It's loss of strength. It's loss of range of motion or flexibility. There's other things, and we can address all those things without our weight ever changing and still feel better and move better and be, healthier, if you will. So we blame weight for a lot of things that it's really not responsible for. Like I said, our limited mobility or worsening strength or injuries, those are to blame for the things that, sometimes we feel, and we can work through those things. And regarding, people going to the doctor and not getting the care that they deserve, that is unfair. That is discrimination. That is doing harm. That is not okay. One of my favorite sort of points of reference for support, for printouts, for scripts, is the Fat Doctor, Dr. Larmy, Dr. Asher Larmy. They just have great content around helping you navigate these conversations with doctors, helping
Mhm.
you seek a new doctor. I know ASDA, the Association for Size, Diversity, and Health, has, a list of doctors and other practitioners who practice from an anti-diet or weight neutral, paradigm. And, we just need to find the network of people to support us. But if a doctor is telling you, oh, I can't do anything until you lose weight, they're not your doctor, and you need to report them, and you need to seek another doctor, if you have access to that, because nothing about that is okay. Your fat body is not causing excruciating sharpshooting pains in your low back. The fat can't do that. And fat is far more protective than people give it credit for. So there's a whole nother piece
Yeah.
of this, but that's just lazy medicine and someone who doesn't care enough to look into what's going on with you. They're fat phobic, they have anti-fat bias, and they are not willing to do the work to try to figure out what's happening with you.
And
For sure.
it's actually, there's a huge amount of risk associated with keeping yourself in a smaller body when your
For
body
sure.
actually isn't in that smaller size naturally,
Yep.
especially when it comes to women kind of my age and above, kind of heading towards late 40s, 50s with osteoporosis risk. If you
Mhm.
are
Absolutely.
in a very small body, and especially if you have, that is not your natural body size, and that you've kind of worked with
Mm-mm.
diet culture through that, there's a huge amount of risk, which we don't hear about. We don't hear
No.
about. We're just shaming people in larger bodies and it just pains me because it's such a one-sided conversation.
But I think a
Absolutely.
lot of practitioners don't actually know about it because
They don't.
training for general practitioners is it's a little bit of everything, but
Yeah.
nothing in detail, nothing sort of definitely no non-diet kind of messaging,
No.
and therefore they're often not even aware that
Mhm.
what they're prescribing is harmful and
Mm-mm.
ineffective, which is
Yeah.
really
True.
scary, really, because you go to your doctor because you trust them to tell you what you need to do to feel better, but you're
Yeah.
getting the opposite, really. I mean,
Mm.
one of the things that I've heard lots of people suggest to clients is when you go to the doctor to kind of just start with a sentence, what would you prescribe to someone in a smaller body? I would like
Yeah.
that treatment, please, thank you. To
Hmm.
just not even go there. But that takes a lot of courage. It's
Courage,
just so
yeah.
It
unfair that
takes a
the
lot of
onus is on
courage.
your shoulders
Yeah.
to sort that out and to advocate for yourself. It shouldn't happen, but unfortunately it does. So it's just so lovely to hear that there are people like you who
Yeah.
you know, who treat with a weight neutral lens and treat
Yeah.
the symptoms regardless of body size. I think that's we need way more of you. Way
Yeah.
more.
Thank you. No, we do, just in the sense of understanding these concepts that we've been taught. And I get it. You want to just believe what you've been taught all these years, but it's really just the status quo. And
Mhm.
so, again, once you're introduced to, an alternative way of thinking around a topic, you do yourself and your clients a disservice when you don't investigate that and
Mhm.
really think that through. It's the same way, I'll post something about, weight not being the culprit for this or that. And someone will be like, this is a lie, obesity kills. And they'll quote some random WebMD article. And I'm like, I understand why they feel that way. One, my statements are an assault to your identity. If you
Mhm.
believe that weight is the end all be all and you are strict and stern and you diet and exercise and you're committed and you don't understand why other people can't be committed. I lived that life, so I understand why
Yeah.
it's so offensive to you. But if you don't take the time to look at the research that you're, quoting and recognize, who it's funded by, read the results yourself, not necessarily their conclusion of what the results said,
Mhm.
and understand like there's no reliable, significant, consistent research that supports weight loss being effective at doing anything in and
Mhm.
of itself.
Mhm.
We see improvements in cardiovascular health with endurance training. Yes, we do. Whether the person loses weight or not,
Mhm.
we see there are things that improve, um, outside of weight over the course of time. And since the intuitive eating books, have been, I think they're on their fourth edition now.
Mhm.
More and more research has been done on that approach to eating intuitively, or practicing from a weight neutral space, working on your health from that mindset. Greater improvements in your overall health, even though weight doesn't always change very significantly. And I think the biggest thing is people just need to understand that the same way we are all meant to be different heights and have
Mhm.
different shoe sizes, foot sizes, we are meant to be different body sizes. There are people on this earth who are
Mhm.
supposed to be fat. And that is just
Yeah.
the truth. There are people who are supposed to be fat. There are people who are supposed to be thin. There are people who are supposed to be mid-sized. And all of us will experience change somewhere along that continuum over the course of our lives, assuming we live long enough. And furthermore, the biggest red flag, and we learned this in PT school and in medical school, the biggest red flag for declining health when you're, examining a patient is unexplained weight loss, not
Mhm.
gain, not
Mhm.
gain. Because
Mhm.
weight gain typically signifies a level of health, access to food, joy, happiness. But weight loss is usually like, whoa, what's happening? Is our body being depleted in some way? Is there a tumor, cancer, like something feeding off of
Absolutely.
us?
Mhm.
That is the red flag. So the fact that we've shifted that, in our approach when we're dealing with patients or ourselves, it's just insane because it doesn't even make sense. Weight is, and it's not to say, oh, you should just be gaining weight forever and forever and be as big as you can be. No, everyone's bodies they sort of have like an ideal set point and a range, but it's individual. So
Yeah.
we shouldn't all be trying to get to this middle place on this stupid BMI chart. We should all be existing in our individuality and finding the things that help and heal and take good care of our bodies, because it's going to be different from person to person. So
And that is diversity exists. It is real and it exists
that's
in
real.
bodies. And why we're
Mm,
all trying to be what, 5% of us can actually be, or our bodies
exactly.
are, it's really, I find it so sad. But
It's depressing.
I want to talk about your journey a little bit and your
Yeah.
movement practice, how your movement practice specifically has changed since you started seeing things through a weight neutral lens. Because I think on another podcast I've been stalking you on,
I love it.
you were mentioning about how your regime was quite strict
Oh
before
yeah.
you saw the light. And you work out every day, and then you kind of
Mm.
shifted to 5 days a week, and then it changed. And so, how was it a gradual change for you from your kind of full on working out every day, or was it? Has
It
it?
is So the part of the story when I was doing 7 days a week, I've always been a very regimented person. I grew up in a lot of chaos. And for me, structure felt like safety. So I, as a child, became a very devout conservative Christian on my own. My parents did not encourage it. I also exercised a lot and, tracked my meals. And I was doing a lot, just a lot. It felt like protection. It felt like safety. It felt like this is the way to become successful and happy. And again, that unraveled after I, got married, had kids, and went through all these transitions with my body. So at the point when I was working out 7 days a week, that was when I had stopped nursing my final child, and I just gained like 20 pounds. And I was like, oh my God, what is wrong? And so I was like, I got to get serious. So I started eating all of my food out of small portion containers. I was heavily restricting. My rule was to go to bed every night hungry, because that would result in maybe a 1 or 2 pound weight loss the next morning. It was extremely disordered. It, for sure, orthorexia, not something I would have been screened for or diagnosed with at that time anyway, but I know now that I was living in a very disordered way. And yeah, 7 days a week exercise. It was 30 to 45 minutes a day, and just no excuses. It was go hard or go home. Exercise was punishment. But it was also, I considered it like taking care of myself. But I look back at pictures, my eyes, I've always had dark circles, but they were darker and sunken in. I was mentally consumed by the thought of what I was going to be doing for movement and what I was going to be eating all day, every day. I was eating before I would go out with friends. I would sometimes go out with friends and just binge like crazy. I was really struggling. And everyone looked at me like, oh, look at her. She's so disciplined and so in control. But really on the inside, I was a very sad, confused, stressed person. And so I woke up one day and was like, okay, 7 days is just pushing it. Let me drop down to 5 days. And when I dropped down to 5 days, because I had lost weight, I lost about 15, 20 pounds. And after I dropped down to 5 days, within about 3 to 4 months, I gained everything I lost back plus more. And then I was even more upset with myself and more disappointed, because I'm like, what is wrong with me? And that's when I stumbled upon the Health at Every Size book. And that's when things started to shift. And what happened was, I still lingered and tried a diet or two after that, but finally I stopped moving. I had to stop moving, because movement for me became about I could not dissociate movement from weight loss, or movement from body changes, or movement from worth, or like I couldn't.
Yeah.
So I had to stop.
Yeah.
In the process, I think I probably gained about 40 pounds, which was very difficult, and still something that you can struggle with from day to day. The healing process continues, right? But I had to stop. I had to kind of go cold turkey, because movement was too much for me. And so I would say I got back into a rhythm around 2022, and then I kind of took a break again. And I've been pretty consistent most of this year now, where I feel like, okay, I found things that mean something to me. And I'm slowly getting back to some of the movements I was doing before, but not anything intense. I actually prefer my workouts to be 10 to 20 minutes. I don't do, really, occasionally I'll do a 30-minute if I'm like, oh, I have a lot of energy today, but I am now a single mom of 3. And so energy is not always in abundance. So, I am more a 10, 20-minute workout person. I do work out about 4 days a week. And then I kind of commit to myself to be at least active a little bit over the weekends, just for my body's health, just so I don't feel stiff, just so that I don't feel uncomfortable. But I don't have a scale. I don't check my weight. I don't track my sizes. I don't take any measurements unless it's like, because I'm ordering something offline and I want to be accurate. I'm very mindful about my activators or triggers, so that I don't kind of go back down that rabbit hole, because it's easy for me to spiral, for sure. But movement took a while to adjust to. And I know one thing, I was a big runner, and I would force running even though it didn't feel good in my body after my first pregnancy. But now I don't even attempt to run. I'm like, I might like jog to the car, but it's so, I am not running. I'm not trying to force myself to run I used to do 5Ks every month. I used to try to do a 5K once a month. I don't even sign up for those things, because I'm like, I don't even enjoy it anymore. It used to be an enjoyable experience, but now it hurts, and I'm not forcing myself through that. So I'm very particular about my movement now. It's about joy. It's about what I feel like. It's about what I think my body needs. It's short. It's, like I said, maybe 4 days a week. But even if it's not, I don't beat myself up about it. I'm like, I didn't need movement today. My body needed something else, or my heart needed something else, or my mind needed something else. And sometimes the other parts of you get to take priority over the physical and the movement. So that's how I see it now.
I think that this is going to be, for a lot of the listeners, going to be revolutionary to hear that a physical therapist, or physiotherapist as they're known in the UK, says that I exercise, do the things, or I move my body, do the things that I enjoy 10, 15 minutes. That is not what people are told. People are told, oh, under an hour, you might as well not bother. And I have a real issue with that, because I find exercising for an hour incredibly boring.
Same.
It would need to be a super, super interesting class for me to actually stay focused and enjoy it. Half an hour is perfect. And body image fitness is actually great, because a lot of the lessons or sessions are half an hour. But even that sometimes feels like,
yeah.
So I love, 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 love that you said that, because that makes me feel a lot better for doing sort of maybe short 10, 15 minutes and doing it. And I think, if I understand this correctly, this is part of disentangling it from body control, trying to control your body and shaping it into a smaller size.
100%.
Exactly. So it's not about that anymore. Now it is about your body's well-being and your mental well-being. So would you recommend this kind of approach to your clients? Would you say, look, if you want to do something good for your body, that feels good in your body, try that. Try 10 minutes a day. Is that something that you
Absolutely.
recommend?
I recommend it every time I see a client. I mean, sometimes I have clients who like have an abundance of free time in their schedule and have specific activities that they really enjoy. Like you said, an hour is so boring, but I know what I can do for an hour without complaints, or more: dance. I know I
Oh,
can take a
really? There
dance
you go.
class, or I can go out with my girlfriends, and because it's not this like rigid, like, oh, you have to do it this way. It's a freedom, and expression, and enjoying an atmosphere, and being with other people. So it's meeting my needs emotionally and mentally, not just physically. And that's the biggest thing I try to teach my clients, is that, when we talk about the wellness wheel, the health wheel, we looking at all the parts of us and parts of our community. Even we hone in on this little strip that's like maybe 10% max, what we eat and how we move. That's it. It doesn't, and it's just for our physical stuff. It's not to consider all the rest of us. So I am very big on, like, how can I call it layering. How can I layer an activity that's good for my body, but it also does something for me in a spiritual way, or a mental way, or an emotional way, or a social way? And so that might mean I'm going to set an atmosphere. So I'm going to like light candles and make the light low and play music that I like, so that this yoga practice feels like refreshing to my soul. Or it might mean, you know what, I'm going to meet up with my friends and we're going to go on this walk, because walking is boring. But if we get to talk and laugh the whole way, then it makes it really fun. And I'll probably even walk further. So I think about ways to make movement feel good to other parts of who you are, and reminding ourselves you're so much more than a body. But yes, I recommend to my clients a 10-15 minute workout. Actually, I give a lot of my clients the 5-minute rule, which the person who actually explained it better than me is one of my good friends, Ren Jones from Fitness Jones Training. He says, like, you set a timer for 5 minutes, and you find something you want to do that's active for 5 minutes. When that timer goes off, you sit down, you take some breaths, you assess, you decide, like, do I really still want to do this? Or is this like, do I want to try something else? Or do I want to be done? Or if you want to do it, you set another 5-minute timer and you go back to it. And really, you just give yourself the opportunity to tune in and ask the questions within. Do I like this? Does this feel good? Do I really feel like I need this? Is this helping me? Do I want more? Do I want less? Do I want to stop? And it gives you back the control and the freedom that you should have in your movement practice anyway. So yeah, I tell clients 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, because really the issue is our all or nothing thinking. It's like you said, oh, if you don't do 4 hours, you might as well not do it. That is not true. All movement counts. All movement matters. Every minute matters, and it can all benefit you. It doesn't have to look a certain way or be a certain length. So for sure, trying things in shorter durations, it gives you back the power and the freedom to be like, you know what? I didn't have time for a 45-minute class today. I didn't have time to get dressed, drive to the gym, do a class, drive back, shower. But I got up this morning before I started breakfast and I did a 10-minute workout. And that's literally what
Yeah.
I did today, what I did
Mhm.
yesterday, what I did Monday, because that's what I have time for and bandwidth for. So, yeah,
And it's enough. It's enough. That's what I always
it's
tell
enough.
clients. It's enough. And, you know, I often get the question, well, what's enough? How do I know it's enough? And I'm like, enough for what?
For
What?
what?
Enough for what? Um,
Yeah.
but we wanted to talk before we go over our time loads, because we tend to do that quite a lot. This is such a great conversation. I could literally just keep
Love
talking.
it.
Well, I am very much in perimenopause. I was sort of speaking for you there, Ella.
Yeah, same.
I think we're all there.
So rude. And I'm getting the questions so often about strength training, to the point that I made a video that was it got my biggest response on Instagram, like saying, I think we need to address the fact that strength training and the narrative around it is becoming a massive amount of pressure on women, similarly to diet culture. It's like, you must do strength training in this way, or no movement you do is valid. If you are not lifting very heavy shit, when you are 40 and over, you are doing bad things for your health. It is the rhetoric that is coming at us.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that said, I'm so glad somebody said this, because it's really, I absolutely hate it. And I feel like nothing I'm doing is doing my body any good, because I'm not in the gym lifting really heavy weights. And,
Yeah, that's
you
so
know,
silly.
and I'd love to get your perspective of it, because my perspective is certainly possibly the most efficient way to protect our joints, you know, muscle mass, bone density, all of that, lifting heavy, absolutely. But there are many other ways that we can
Mhm.
impact our bone health and
Yeah.
our joint health. And is that how you would answer that? How would you answer it, Dr. Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I would argue. So I think the shift has been because women were taught, to be small as possible. So cardio, cardio, cardio. So I endorse this sort of regression from overdoing cardio. I don't think it
Yes.
actually helps us as we age, especially as women. So for me, I would tell people, cardio in the sense of like maybe go up and down your stairs a few times,
Yeah.
or if you really enjoy a brisk walk, go for it once or twice a week. And there's nothing wrong with doing more of it, but that overexertion, like running really hard, running really far, hours at a time, I actually think it ages us in a negative way. Nothing wrong with aging, right? But I think it ages us, progresses our aging as far as our joints and our bone health go. So I'm not a big fan of like excessive cardio. So I do definitely promote strength and flexibility training. And then also, just equally as important, balance and coordination training, like
Yeah.
that's really really huge, agility, things like that. But I don't think that strength training requires lifting heavy at all. I actually think some of the most efficient strength training is body weight training, like literally just your body weighs whatever it weighs, and you can load it and do different things to strengthen your joints, your bones, your muscles without ever picking up a weight. Are weights
Yeah.
great? Absolutely. I think I have what, a 25-pound dumbbells, 12s, 8s, 5s. I like having access to weights to add additional load, to challenge myself, but you can absolutely be really strong and have decent bone health and muscle strength from body weight exercises, planking, lunging, squats, wall sits, anything that requires you to bear weight through parts of your body, and you'll get stronger. And then I would say that the thing that people are missing, I would say women, men, everybody as we age, is the flexibility training. We put that on the back burner. I tell everyone I meet, your muscles are only as strong as they are flexible, honey. I don't care how good the bicep looks. If you can't straighten your elbow to
Yeah.
reach something without it snapping, guess what? It's weak. So, for me, it's more so about managing we get so caught up in, I should do this, I shouldn't do that.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
really are no shoulds. Really, you should find what feels good to you, and you should try to incorporate all the things. But if you're not stretching, then it doesn't matter. You're going to injure yourself and won't be able to do it for a while anyway. So
And
I would say that's the missing piece.
this is so interesting to me, because I do a mobility class, or a joint mobility class on with Body Image Fitness. And a number of my other clients, I'm like, come along, let's do some mobility. And they're like, And there is a resistance to it because you're not sweating, you're not lifting heavy weights, you're just taking your body, your joints through their full range of motion. And
Mhm.
you know, and it's because there isn't that, yeah, but what's it going to do for me? What are the results I'm going to see? Whereas
Let me say, tell them as a physical therapist, let me promise you what it's going to do for you is eliminate or prevent a lot of the unnecessary injuries that we incur.
100%.
We'll all get injured, right? We live long enough. We will all get injured. We will lose some abilities. There's no shame in that. It happens. But there are some things that are very preventable. And if you are not doing consistent mobility training, that is where, you know, there's an opportunity to make some transitions. And you're right, you're not going to sweat with this.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel like you did so much, but you're going to feel so much better. And
Yeah.
so just incorporating stretching into while you're sitting watching television, while you're waiting on something in the oven, you know, just it doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Oh, I have to do a 30-minute mobility session every day. No, you don't. It can be
Yeah.
3 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes at night. It doesn't have to be a lot, but mobility training is everything. So definitely make that a priority in your life for sure. It's just another way to take care of your body.
And it's a great
Yes.
way to habit stack, isn't it? As you said, you can do that while you're doing something else. I started doing that when I brush my teeth. So
Yeah.
I do a hip flexor stretch when I brush my teeth in the mornings, and I do a balancing exercise when I brush my teeth at night.
I love it. I tell people all the time, stand on one foot while you brush your teeth.
I know. And
Like
it's
it looks like
surprisingly
nothing.
difficult when you first start.
And then you get better.
Uh-huh.
And then the next time you're out walking and you miss a step, your
Mm-hmm.
body adjusts and you're able
Mm-hmm.
to keep yourself off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the stuff that matters when we're talking about quality of life and
Mm-hmm.
longevity, you know, if that is something that you're focusing on. So yeah, you don't need to lift heavy weights. You don't need to work out for hours. You don't need to do a tons of cardio. You just need to incorporate some strength, endurance, you know, balance training consistently in your life. And sometimes you'll have weeks where you're not consistent because life is happening. And then all you need is some compassion and grace, and give that to yourself and get back to it when you can. But all the judging and the shaming and the shoulds, like those are all like shame seeds, and we don't get any beautiful growth from that stuff. So, you know,
Oh
we can throw
my
all that out.
goodness. I would just love to work with you. You're
Yeah.
amazing, Dr. Lisa.
Come to the
On
I
that
would
note,
love to.
if our listeners are like, I want to work with Dr. Lisa, how can they work with you? Can they work with you? How would they access?
Yeah. So, you know, if anyone needs physical therapy, you'd have to physically be in North or South Carolina because of my licensing restrictions. And I do offer that in person and virtually. But outside of that, for my health coaching, I do packages like 6 sessions or 12 sessions where we meet typically bi-weekly and we talk about all the things. And so we get into body image, we get into movement, we talk about intuitive eating, we talk about general health, whatever it is you're kind of struggling with. And so Instagram is the easiest place to find me at Healthy Fit. It is spelled PHIT, but you can also go to my website, healthyfit.com, and you can just schedule a call. I like to talk to the people first before I sell them anything because I want you to make sure what you're getting makes sense for you and your specific needs. So it starts with a 15-minute free discovery call. We chat, talk about your concerns and thoughts, and then if it feels good to you, we get you scheduled and get you set up. But I enjoy it. Again, I do that coaching virtually and in person to people who are local, because sometimes that means like we're going to meet up in the community, or maybe we're going to try to go to a gym that you're interested in, or try to do an activity you're interested in, because I want this to be functional and practical. So just reach out, schedule a call, and we can see if it makes sense.
Amazing. We'll put all of that in the show notes for easy access. But I could just talk to you for hours, and it's just so interesting because obviously it's not my background. My background is nutrition, so hearing you both sort of share all your knowledge is just really interesting to me. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lisa, and we might have to have you back for part 2.
I'll be happy to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.